Hey, brothers and sisters, I want to give a presentation for you for what's going on, what's been going on, but I want to set it out here in a very easily digestible way for you to understand the aspects of who you are. There's two houses. There's God's house and there's the devil's house. Both each has built their own. God built his house and the devil built his house. And then there's us. We're the ones that are to fill that house. What would be the point of a house that's not filled, right? Now, in that being said, God has anticipated and desired us to fill his house. He's built it for us. It's just like the parable of Matthew. The master has his son. The son's having a wedding. He sends his servants out to invite everybody to come to the wedding, to fill the banquet. Some of the tenants, some of the people that have farms want to tend to their farms, and some of the people that are merchants want to tend to their merchandise and their businesses, and they don't come. The master gets frustrated, realizes, well, they're not worthy to come then anyway, but I have this huge wedding and all these spots that are unoccupied, therefore go to the streets and the highways and invite everybody you can. Once again, emphasizing the point of there's chairs, and the chairs were built to be seated in, on the most simplistic aspect. Now, the devil has done the same thing. He's built a house, and God has allowed him to build a house because he realized if the angel, the highest of them all, there's God, and then there's Lucifer, Satan, turned against me and persuaded even 1/3. It was not just himself alone, but persuaded 1/3 to turn against God. Then there may be more, especially in this creation that I'm going to make called humans. So, me being a good God, I'm going to give each their own free will and their own capability and desire to do as they see fit. God is a good God. He gives you your desires. And now people don't understand the beauty of how just he is. He's so good. If you desire that of flesh, aka the world, aka death, he's going to give it to you. If you desire the devil, he will give it to you. He gave the devil his own desire. The devil wanted to be praised and worshipped, if we forget not. He wanted to be praised and worshipped and even considered higher than God. God gave him his desire. I'll give you this kingdom, this realm called earth. I'll create humans. Here are humans. They will have their own free will to choose what they want. Now, on this contrast, the angels had everything and then turned against God. On our aspect, it's a little bit different. We started out low, and God was like, those who are willing to pursue me and chase me and are ride or die when they have nothing will for certain be ride or die when I bless them with everything, aka eternal life in heaven. Now, with that being said, back to the two houses, God's house and the devil's house. Whose house are you dwelling in? And not just that, whose house are you leading people to? Are you leading people to God's house, or are you leading people to the devil's house? In the most simplistic level, think about that. How many people are you bringing to which house? Which house are you spending more time occupied in? So that same aspect is Game of Thrones, per se. Everybody has their own house, right? But this is on the simplest level, black and white. It does come down to only there's two kingdoms at war here. Now, I want you to see something very beautiful about how and why you go over to the devil's house, even if you desire God's house. God is so holy that he had his house, the most awesome house that there ever can and will be and is. He left his house to come into the devil's house, which is incredible, aka the pits of hell, to refuge and save us who have been kidnapped and abducted, manipulated and deceived to dwell in that house because he loves us that much. He didn't just leave us in that house once the devil got us. He came and got us. This is all throughout the scriptures. He left his heavenly throne. This is his house. Where do you think a throne's at? In your kingdom. It's in his kingdom, in his house, and he left that and went into the depths of the darkness of hell and the worst pits in rooms of the ugliest and darkest house there is to come save all of us. Now, I want to bring it back to you and I. We wonder why do we jump from one house to the other? Why are we unstable in all our ways? Why is it this wretched old body that's constantly at war with the spirit, aka God's house? We're going back and forth. What if, on this perspective, we were in God's house? For he says he knew you before you were in your mother's womb. Let's think about that. You knew me before I was even in the realm of having to choose which house or what. I was already in your house and with you. You created me? Okay. I was with God's house. You created me. You knew me before I was even in that limbo state of having to decide a house. And you're telling me that you knitted me together and know the number of hairs on my head, know me so well you know my thoughts far off, that is it possible that God had, as he says, we've been predestined, chosen, selected, right? Is it possible that we were very well chosen to be the exact representation of what he did, aka leaving the holy house, God's heavenly house, the Most High's house, to go into the devil's house, to refuge and save the lost sheep, the abducted and kidnapped brothers and sisters? Now, with that being said, considering we're created in his image, right? We're his children. And that very well, most likely, is exactly what we're called to do. You'll be in the world, but not of the world. You'll be in the devil's house, but not of the devil's house. Now, not only that, but then if you think about, he asks, who will go? Who will go into the enemy's territory to refuge my lost sheep, my lost children? You have your brothers. Send me. Here am I am willing. All these different brothers and sisters throughout humanity willing to go in the depths. Now, before the mission is set out, obviously there's planning or not, and they have to choose who's the one. Could you imagine the heavenly host all sitting there, and there is you? I'm willing to do it. I am he, I am she. I'm willing to go into the enemy's territory. As he says, I prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. Who's the one to go in? Navy SEALs, Green Berets, SEAL Team 6, whatever you want to look at it, but way infinitely higher considering this is a spiritual war. Who's the one to go do that special ops mission in the enemy's territory to save the brothers and sisters that have been kidnapped and abducted? Now, the thing about it is, I think, and I know all his chosen ones have been. Now, the thing about it is, sometimes when you go in the enemy's house, you're there for so long and you're on such a mission. It's like those movies when you see that double agent that had forgot who their true identity was while in enemy's territory. And they start to actually think they're the other agent. They're on the other side. They're like, oh, I must be of the devil's house because I'm here. I'm always doing this. I'm always doing that. I must be of the devil's house. And I call it spiritual amnesia, because you've been grinding and had such a high calling and mission that you've been deep down, dark down, way down in all of it. That God sometimes realizes, all right, our brother's doing good, but he needs encouragement. He needs his comrades, his brother, his sister, whoever. That sometimes you just need your brother to come to you, a strong one, come to you and remind you who you are and what you're called to do, and that you chose to go into that house because you loved God so much that you were willing to leave what you had, your blessings, your heavenly kingdom, his heavenly kingdom, to go imitate him and do the same thing. And that's why he tells us to go. That's why it's not we just get to sit in our room in our little hideout and stay there. That's why he tells us to go out into the valley of shadow of death. That's why he tells us to go in the darkness and to go be the light, to go set your lamp on top of the table and let it shine. And then so much so that your light's so bright that you overcome this enemy stronghold, that it turns into a city of lights, because you start to wake up your brothers and sisters who have been deceived and kidnapped and abducted in the enemy's territory and kingdom, thinking that they are of the devil. When God's been like, no, brothers, y'all were bold. You've just forgotten. You've gotten worn down. You've grown weary. But every now and then you get that brother to remind you, encourage you, you are a child of God, and he's coming.
So keep fighting.